What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to my YouTube channel doing another book review. Today we doing Uncommon Favor by Dawn Staley. This book just hit different. This ain't just a regular book. This ain't just like a regular memoir that I've been through. This book is literally like a masterclass, like a powerful testimony, if you will. It's like inspiration all rolled into one. I know y'all know her as a basketball legend, like one of the greatest women coaches of all time. One of the greatest coaches of all time in general. But it's like so much more bigger than just her winning championships. It ain't just about basketball. It's like a story that's like forged by fire. It started like just crazy, man. This book was definitely inspirational. It definitely was dope. Like one of the craziest stories in this book was like situation with her grandma, why they had to leave South Carolina. And the whole situation is just a crazy story, a crazy book. But we definitely going to get into everything about this book. This Dawn Staley, Uncommon Favor. It's Pito back with another book review. Let's get it. So in Dawn Staley book, Uncommon Favor, one of the craziest stories she tells is something that happened to her in South Carolina. What happened to her mom actually in South Carolina. So her mom went to a butcher to get meat for the family, but the butcher tried to sell her some rotten meat and her mom refused it, saying, I can't take that home. My mom wouldn't be pleased. But at the time, the butcher who owned the butcher shop was a white man. And at that time, you wasn't supposed to defy anybody of, that color in that time because, you already know the rules and the laws of land at this time. Because it was a risk, like publicly defying a white man during this era. So her grandma, got wind of the story, got pissed. She went home. The butcher cussed her out, like, don't ever come back here with this, ever come back. So her grandma was scared of what was the implications of what she just did. So the grandma made her mom move to North Philly and get up out of there just in case anything came back on them. She didn't want no problems. There was no smoke. And it's an incredible, powerful origin story because it's like it makes you wonder, as Dawn does in this book. She talked about it in this book so many times, like how many great people was created because of stories like that. Like somebody that's got like an unwavering spirit that just no matter what, they refuse to settle. They refuse to give up. They refuse to stop. And like as you go through this book, it's so many different threads. There's so many different stories. There's so many different avenues that she had to take. But it just was like, this was like the birth of it. Excuse me. Like you trying to stop something, you trying to shut something down. And there's so many people that just out of this era that was crafted and like by fire, like I said before, and turned into something like just amazing just because of hatred, just because of racism, just because of certain things. But it's like sometimes when you forge that fire, you create something great and amazing like they did with Dawn Staley, just out of this situation, putting them in a place where she just really had to get it from the mud, which I thought was amazing, honestly. So Dawn always had like this deep sense of character. And I feel like that character was passed down directly from her mom. So her mom raised 7 kids, which is incredible, like act of service all in itself. Her mom did everything for those kids, but she had like a crazy, like unique way of showing tough love, which I thought was crazy. And some of the things she said about her mom was like really good. Some things she said about her dad was really good. But this one thing she said about her mom really stuck out to me. She talks about, however, whenever the kids in the house forget to wash the dishes in the home, her mom wouldn't just get mad. Her mom wouldn't be pissed or anything. She would be pissed, don't get me wrong, but she would literally come home, look at all the kids and see all the dishes in the sink. But she was doing everything, by the way. She was cooking, she was cleaning, she was, paying bills, she was working, she was doing everything she could to be a good mom and raise her kids correctly. But whenever she would ask them to wash the dishes and they didn't wash the dishes, she'll come home, she would literally break every dish, go upstairs and go to sleep. And I thought that was so crazy because it's showing like it's real consequences to their actions and it stuck out so strong. And just because the family is strong doesn't mean they don't go without struggles or issues or things that they go through. Dawn Staley, of course, also opened up about her struggles that her family faced, including like a battle with her brother's addiction. She shared like a lot of deep, crazy, personal, painful stories of how like one time, she was in the 96 Olympics. She was around all the great athletes. So one time she had a signed Michael Jordan jersey and a few other jerseys that was signed memorabilia. And like her brother was an addict. So her brother took and sold like all this memorabilia you had. Could you imagine you have a signed like MJ jersey from like 96 and your brother that's an addict taking and sell it? Like, bruh, I want to murder that man. But, that's just sometimes how it goes when you raise in them houses with addiction. And she talked about how her dad used to like, try to love his brother as much as he can and be around him as much as he can. But You know, sometimes it just came to a point where it's like, bro, you can't stay here alone. You can't be at the house by yourself. But it just show you like a family that ain't built on perfection. It's built on resilience and the ability to confront hardships head on. And she went into a lot of other details about what the family went through, other people having cancer and other people having like illnesses and stuff like that. But they always came together and did what they were supposed to do. So that was another part of this book, a Dawn Staley book, I thought was like amazing. So another thing in Dawn Staley book she talked about was her choice to go to UVA over Penn State. And she said the reason why she chose UVA over Penn State was because of the facilities. She said Penn State just reminded her of the hood, not the hood, but, you know, small confined space. She ain't want to share a shower. She ain't want to be in there with 2 or 3 people in one room because she was already raised in that. Her household was like that. So that's one thing she actively was trying to avoid. So when she went to UVA, she was like, oh, yeah, I can definitely do this. This is definitely something I can do. It was more spacious. She had her own shower. She had a lot of things like that. So she definitely was with going to UVA over Penn State, and mainly because of the facilities. And it's funny, though, because she talked about that's one of the reasons, just one of the things she used in her recruiting to this day is having better facilities than a lot of other schools, because where she at now, South Carolina, is invested in, you know, trying to make the dorms as best as they possibly could. So even that experience from when she was in college to her, you know, recruiting players now is one of the things that she used, is trying to get better facilities, which I thought was amazing. Or funny, really. And Dawn Staley book and everything that she talked about was not making the 1992 Olympic team. And she was so hurt and devastated by it because they said she was too short. She ain't have enough height. And she just really knew she was going to make it. She really felt like she had everything she needed to make that 92 team. But they felt like they were stacked enough. They felt like they had enough players. So that snub for the 92 team really pushed her to make the 96 team. And when she made the 96 team, she was trying to make it a point. Like, yo, we going to win. We going to dominate. And I'm going to show them like I belong. And I showed them that my height don't matter. And I'm going to dominate in every way possible. And that's what she did. And it ended up really working out for her, really playing a significant role in her, you know, developing the person that she was. And she really wanted to make a statement and really show like she's really that guy, that girl, and really that dominant. And she couldn't settle for nothing less than winning gold. And that's what they did. So she was talking about that, which I thought was amazing, too, in this book, how she really got snubbed in 92. And that's why I always say, like, it ain't always a bad thing when the door get closed, because another one will come open. Who knows what would have happened if she did make the 92 team? She probably wouldn't be as driven and hungry as she is to this day. But, yeah, that was something dope when she did make the 96 team. Another thing that I thought was amazing in the Dawn Staley book, she talked about how she was able to walk every athlete out in the 96 Olympics and carry the torch and stuff like that. And she just felt like little old black girl from the hood, from Philly, just had a dream of playing basketball, is really out here leading the top of the top, the 1% of the 1%, really leading the charge of all these athletes. And I just thought that was an amazing story. Like, you just never know what you can accomplish with your belief system, what you believe in, without giving up, without quitting, and really pressing forward and really putting your all behind it. And that sense of belief has really led her to where she in the World Olympics, she on the world stage and dominating, being one of the top female athletes out there, which I thought was an amazing story in itself. Another thing that Dawn Staley talked about in the book was the end of her basketball career, and how she was getting into coaching, and that wasn't necessarily something that she was like really big on, was getting into coaching. She didn't really like, you know how that would transition, what happened. She always wanted to just be a ball player. And she talked about how getting a job at Temple, and how she wasn't just trying to take the job. She was really trying to rebuild the program. And if she was going to do it, she was going to do it right. And she became like one of the most winning women coaches of basketball history. She had a record of like 172, like 80. She won 172 games and lost 80. She led them to like 6 NCAA tournaments, and they won 10 Atlantic 10 conference titles. But then, came to move to South Carolina. And when she took the South Carolina job, it wasn't like South Carolina was this big powerhouse and they was winning all these games and nothing like that. But she did feel like it was a step in the direction where she reached the max potential that she could possibly reach with Temple. So she felt like in South Carolina, she could do a way better job. And another thing she talked about in the book is when the guys from South Carolina, they interviewed her and they didn't really feel like she was a fit. So they was like, well, look, we'll come to Philly and check you out. And she was describing how when they came to Philly, she saw, like, she was walking with the guy that was trying to hire her from South Carolina. And she was walking in the community and everybody kept coming up to her, taking pictures. Like, Dawn, you better not leave us. You better not leave us. You better stay. So it kind of showed, like, how much impact she had in the community, how much people really took to her, how many people supported her and didn't want her to leave, and how much of an impact she became. And so they hired her because of that, because of how everybody else was begging her not to leave. And she built South Carolina into like a national contender. And she had transformed the Gamecocks into a powerhouse. And like their current record is 475 wins and only 110 losses. And she led them to 6 Final Four appearances and 3 national titles. They won titles in 2017, they won titles in 2022, and they won the national title in 2024, which made her the first black coach, male or female, to win 3 Division I basketball championships, which is crazy. If you, especially coming from where she coming from, like, it's just wild, man, coming from a little girl from the hood, and she accomplishing things that no men has ever accomplished, that black men has accomplished. And it's just crazy, man. And it's like... That includes the undefeated season that she had in 2004 that only featured a handful of teams in women's college basketball history that had ever accomplished that. And she, you know, she kind of laid back and don't really big boast about it, but like being a woman in the sport and really dominating the way that she dominated, and sometimes she could be a little bit more arrogant if it was up to me. Talk your shit, girl. But, you know, she's just not building winning programs. She's building a legacy, like open doors for other women to become coaches and get in the positions that she in and really dominate. And like there's like small, little, beautiful details that she speaks to about the bigger message in this book. And she tells the story of how she got a dog and something that she didn't even want at the time. But she ended up being like the dog ended up being like an unexpected surprise and a blessing in her life. In that moment, it shows that she was looking for something, even when you resist it, can be a blessing in the long run, getting that dog, because it showed her love and showed her compassion, something that she didn't really have. And she really felt like she didn't have the patience for it, but she ended up being a blessing anyway. But I know that's a small part to everything that we talked about, but Dawn talked about all this greatness in her book and how great all the things that she accomplished and how tough and how hard it was to get to these accomplishments, but she still did it. So, man, yeah, this book was amazing, man. There's a lot more things in this book. If y'all have read it, let me know what y'all think. That's not my conclusion, but that's definitely another dope part of this book that I thought was amazing. So, in conclusion, the Dawn Staley book, it was amazing, man. And we see stories about her mom and her grandma, how her own failures and all her incredible victories are all connected. And her stories can prove that you can't always control every situation. And sometimes as you fight for control, you create the very things that you fear. But it also can create like amazing things and very things that she was meant to do in your journey. And her journey was a testament of how simply but how powerful and how amazing the truth can be as long as you live by it. And always remember, what's delayed is not denied. That's one thing she kept saying in this book that I thought was amazing. What's delayed does not mean that it's denied. And I think I'm gonna start running with that saying for a little while, like what's delayed is not denied. But in this book, it just reminds you to trust the process, embrace the struggle, and always have faith, and destiny is on its way. And if you have read this book, let me know what y'all think. It's a Pito with another book review. Dawn Staley, this was an amazing book. I appreciate you, girl. And it's Pito with another book review. Let's get it. I'm out.